Hello everyone, Dr. R here, and I'm going to go over some things regarding the multi-attribute exercise for Module 2B, and just wanted to sort of clarify and give specific instructions on what you are to do. So this is the first page of the assignment. Now the first page of the assignment shows you what the salient attributes are that were included in the multi-attribute attitude model. If you don't know what that is, please go back and watch the multi-attribute attitude model videos. There are several of them. Now here you see the same attributes again. It's these right here. And now we have the ratings of the beliefs. Okay? So strongly disagree to strongly agree as far as whether the iPad, which is the target product that we're rating, does it have these features. So -3 means it definitely does not, 0 means neutral, +3 means that the person strongly believes that it does. Over here we have the ratings for the evaluations, the feelings about each attribute belief. So portability, how much do they like it or dislike it? +3, that's strong positive feelings. A 0 would be no feelings at all. That would be what we'd call a non-salient attribute. We don't really have anything over here, but if there were any negative ratings, that would indicate that there's a negative evaluation about that attribute. And recall that when we have a positively evaluated attribute, that is something that we want positive beliefs about. If it's a negatively evaluated attribute, then we want negative beliefs about it. We want the consumer to believe that the product does not possess an undesirable attribute. Okay, going on to the next page. Here is question number 1. Question number 1 is a straightforward application of the Fishbein multi-attribute formula, which is the sum of the product of each evaluation for an attribute times the belief strength for that attribute. And then you add together all of those products. By product, I mean, when you multiply these two things together, that's called a product. And so that computes the overall attitude toward the, in this case, the iPad. And so I have the formula written out right here verbally. So attitude towards the iPad equals belief strength times affective evaluation for salient belief number 1, which you see them again right here. Portability is belief number 1. So you would multiply the evaluation times the belief. Okay, in this table down here we have all the beliefs. Now here it's actually asking you to use the information from the survey that was on page 1. So here you see page 1 where we have the survey that the person filled out to so that we can then calculate their attitudes. And so this is all of the beliefs. So this is for attribute 1, portability. This is the belief, -2. This is the evaluation for that belief for portability, +3. So what are we multiplying together for attribute 1? We are multiplying this right here times this right here. And then for, we're going to add that to the belief times the evaluation for attribute 2, screen resolution. +2 times +1. And the same goes for all the others. So that is what this question is referencing. So like I said, this is just the verbal explanation of this formula, the Fishbein formula. And then right here is where you show your work. So think back to an algebra class where you would use parentheses to indicate that you're multiplying two numbers, right? So if I'm multiplying 2 times 3, that's what I would write, right? And then that would, the product of those two, of that multiplication would be a 6, right? So that's what I'm doing here. So I'm going to input the belief and the evaluation for attribute 1, portability, the belief and the evaluation for attribute 2, screen resolution, and so on, and I am multiplying them together. That's what the parenthesis means. So this is, using algebraic formula notation. So multiplying those two together. So all this is asking you to do is to show your work here. Okay, and then you're going to add the products together. So whatever this is, if this is, just hypothetically speaking, if this is 2 times 1, if this is 3 times 2, and let's just say that that's all we have to work with, then I'm adding 2 plus, what is this? 6, right? So the sum of these two products would be an 8. Okay, and so that's what you're doing for the overall equation, and so you're going to put the overall attitude score right there, which is the sum of all of these products, the beliefs and the evaluations multiplied together. Okay, and then here you're going to fill in the information from the survey, like I said. So you're going to go back to the survey over here, and you're going to pull in, okay, these are all of the beliefs. So where does that go? That goes in the belief column. Then you look over here, here's the evaluations, right? The evaluations. So where does that go? That goes in the evaluation column. And then again, we're doing exactly the same thing that we did up here for the iPad attitude, but now you're calculating the Surface Pro attitude and the Galaxy Tab attitude, because this table also provides you with people's beliefs about these things. Now, why doesn't it provide you with new evaluation scores? Because the evaluation towards the attribute does not change. The only thing that's new is what people believe as far as these two brands possessing these attributes. Next part, number 4. Compute the perfect score given the current evaluations. Show your work below. This is explained in detail in the video. I will just write the formula here. It is the sum of the absolute values of all the evaluation scores times 3. Okay, so that's the shortcut. The sum of the absolute values of the evaluations times 3. If you don't know what I'm talking about, please watch my videos on multi-attribute attitude models. Okay, next, benchmarking analysis. So now you're going to compare current attitudes towards iPad, which is what you computed over here, right? So this is the current attitude. You're also going to be putting the total attitude scores here, so you can just glance at them and compare this value to this value to this value. So you can compare the attitude towards iPad versus the Surface Pro versus the Galaxy Tab. All right, so that is part A of this question. All right, so you're going to tell me which one's higher and which one's lower. And then you're also going to compare to a perfect attitude score, which you computed up here. And then you're going to identify and explain which attribute or attributes are salient and which are determinant. Okay, and again, you have to watch the video to know what that is. Briefly, salient refers to a non-zero evaluation score. Determinant means salient, and it's a different belief rating for each of the brands. Okay, so watch the video for more detail. Now here, this now deals with the attitude change tactics. So you have to watch the attitude change video in order to understand what this is talking about. And so you're basically going to be using these values over here and knowing what the attitude scores are to then decide which attributes should be changed in order to improve iPad's attitude scores. All right, and the idea here is that you're looking for an attribute that you can that can help you change attitudes so that iPad can have a greater competitive advantage. And so you know, if you watch the video, you'll see that in greater detail. All right, so for that section, you're going to tell me first of all, list all of the attitude change tactics that can come out of this particular set of brands and belief ratings and evaluations. And again, this is one at a time attribute changes. So not, oh, I'm going to change the attribute belief and the evaluation and this other attribute belief. No, we're focusing on one thing at a time because attitude change strategies require marketing resources, money and personnel and effort. So one change at a time. Okay. And remember to review in the video the role of salient and determinant attributes in deciding which ones to change. Okay. And then describe the effect of the change on the iPad attitude score relative to the competitors' attitude scores, and whether the attitude scores for the competition changed. So tell me, iPad score went up, attitude score went up, it's now in second place behind, the lead competitor, or, the competitor score went up and now it's ahead of iPad. So describe the change and then tell me the magnitude of the change. Okay, iPad score went up 5 points. None of the others changed. Or iPad score went up 5 points, but some other scores increased. For example, Surface Pro's attitude score also went up 2 points. So that's what that refers to. State the magnitude and direction of change. And then lastly, state whether the change is desirable or not and explain why. So if you increased iPad score, but you also increased the competition score and you're still behind, that's not really desirable, right? Because you've expended money and resources to increase your score, but you didn't really gain a competitive advantage. So that's what that's referring to. And then identify and explain which individual change of the EI or BI that you described above is optimal in providing iPad competitive advantage. So from what you've described here, which one would you recommend to the company and why? And then here's a bonus question: propose and defend specific marketing mix tactics that can help achieve the proposed change in question 8. So these proposed changes are all in relation to these attributes, right? So if it's, improving people's evaluation of, or improving people's beliefs about portability, of the iPad's portability, well, how would you change that? So you have to think of a specific marketing tactic, think about the marketing mix and be specific. What would change people's beliefs about that attribute? And then this question right here deals with JND, so it is this one. So you'll have to look up the JND formula, or Weber's formula, and apply this. This is a straight application of the examples given in the JND videos.